Hi there, welcome back. This is part 5 of my Summer Behind the Scenes series, where I'm admittedly just letting myself off the hook from giving you like educational content and just letting myself share what's happening because I have a lot of stuff going on. And I mean, I'll give myself some credit because I know that you're probably learning something from some of the stuff I'm doing behind the scenes, even if I'm not presenting it in the most teachery way. But even then, I'm actually feeling kind of teachery today. But before I get into that, new glasses. If you're watching the video version, I haven't gotten new glasses in a few years. So I got these and I got them online from Zennies. And they were not cheap, but they were cheaper than if I had gotten some from in store where I get my eyes checked. But anyway, thank you in advance for your compliments. So today I want to talk about this workbook that I'm working on that's going weirdly well. And I don't know if it's something in the stars or if I'm just totally ready for this or if it's something where like it's probably a combination of a whole lot of things. But I'm making a workbook that's all about my process with working with people and what's always on my mind and what questions I always wish that I could ask people when I'm like in Facebook groups or online communities and trying to help out by giving feedback, but then also not trying to get into everybody's business, but also having a hard time with that because I wish that I could ask people deep questions. Aquarius problems, right? So this workbook is something that has been on the back burner for some time now. I wouldn't say years, but at least within the last year. And I'm finally getting around to finalizing it. And I kind of wanted to share with you the process of having beta readers go through it because I think that's really what moved it forward for me. So there were a few things that I think are really helping me make this whole thing pretty smooth. The world is kind of on my side with this. And that is, first of all, that I actually wanted to make this workbook. It's not one of those things where like, you know, a coach told me to do it or some webinar said that I absolutely need to make a workbook and self-publish it and all that stuff if I want to like reach the 6 figures or whatever the webinars are saying nowadays. But I actually personally wanted to make this. I've always wanted to have a workbook. I've made workbooks in the past when I was working in different industries, and I haven't done it in a while, and so it was still interesting for me. So definitely having the personal desire really helped. Another thing that helps is that I'm not making it up. I think that a problem with people making like digital products and low ticket offers that are like just digital products, right? So the idea is that you make it and then you put it up there on the internet, and then the idea is that people end up buying it and you don't have to actually be involved, right? And then, of course, the benefit is that you get to help people because they have access to your process, but then you don't actually have to give your own time and energy. So that's all well and good, but it's also, you know, good for me because I have a real process. I'm not making the stuff up, right? This is all a compilation of existing concepts that I teach or I'm actively doing for myself all the time behind the scenes. These are things that I'm always, you know, like just look at all the notebooks and sticky notes and everything, and you'll see evidence of this process. And so it's nice to put it all together, put it in an order, and then also make it for other people because I tend to do better when there's someone else involved. Like, you know, I'm very much one of those, well, I guess it doesn't really count for this one because the saying goes that if you want to learn something really well, then teach it while you're learning. And I'm not learning this. Like this is something I know really well, but just the same, it's easier for me to work through things when I know that there's another person or several people on the other side waiting for it to be finished. And so I've got that going for me too. But I will say that the biggest thing that has really moved this thing forward is that I had beta readers go through it. And I know that that's typical, you know, but then it's also not that typical because I know that a lot of people, I mean, especially with Canva, like Canva is amazing. Canva can do everything nowadays. But like, you know, with templates being so accessible now. And I don't mean that in like a disability way, but like anyone can make anything now because of Canva. And I think that there's probably templates in there for making a workbook. There's probably all kinds of things for people to self-publish without actually owning what's inside the digital product that they're making, if that makes sense. And for me, having beta readers go through it and really digging into like, why I put every single question in there in that specific order, and then having readers go through it, especially since I didn't hire people to do like word editing or grammar editing, although some of them did that, and some of them misinterpreted my directions and did that. But the intention was to have people go through it and actually experience the process. And so I was very upfront about that. I grabbed, how many people did I think I hired six people who roughly seemed like my ideal client or ideal reader for this workbook. And I paid them because I'll tell you, I put this out there for volunteer beta readers to literally have my whole process for free. And I had a few people sign up, said they would do it, and then they never got back to me. Like literally zero of the volunteer people got back to me. And I was like, I don't really want to chase people right now. I'm just not in the mood. And so I ended up finding people that I could pay to go through it. And oh my goodness, I'm going to do this every single time. It didn't even cost that much. Like, if I paid them, I think I put it down for $30 for someone to go through it. And I had very specific instructions. I know that's not a lot of money, but it's decent. And obviously by the number of people that I had apply, there was interest. But I think I had a total of either 6 or 7 beta readers, but they were more like beta testers because they actually went through the workbook. And then the specific, like I gave them a rough outline of what the thing would be about, so they knew what they were getting into. I didn't, hand it out for free or anything. And then once, we signed a contract and whatever, and yes, you should have contracts. No matter how much is on the line, just have a contract. But the things that I had asked for were a written reflection on each of the sections, and so they knew what each section was going to be about, what the experience was like for them filling this out. And so I really wanted that experiential thing, whether they were enjoying it, whether it was like too deep, because I know that, some of these questions can be really personal, or if they were, getting confused, maybe they were getting angry. I don't know. People have all kinds of reactions. And then I also asked for how helpful you think this workbook is, generally speaking, what you think is missing. And then the final thing was completely optional, a copy of your answers, like the answers when they were going through the workbook. And I put it as optional because I said, if you feel comfortable sharing them with me, because these things are personal. And I also want to respect people's boundaries. I don't want to be all up in people's business if they don't want to, tell me their business. And so I think probably 2 people, either 2 or 3 people decided not to give me their answers, and that's fine. I think one of them was like, it wouldn't have been helpful anyway, just based on their feedback. But, that's why we have multiple people go through the reading, right? And even with I should have looked it up. I really don't remember if it was 6 or more people's feedback that I'm putting in. But it was just a really good experience for me, and also very validating. And that's the tricky thing for me, because I have this weird thing where I don't think that I deserve validation. Like it's not okay for me to be validated. I think it's fine for other people, right? And I'm happy to do it for other people, but for some reason I'm like a very mean parent to myself in that way. And I always think, you should just be confident. You should just put it out there and just do it. And that's just not how I work. And so I'm trying to get a little more in tune with that for myself and understand that like I actually need that validation and that affirmation. And while I didn't while I wasn't seeking compliments on this, because honestly, like I thought that lots of people would come back being totally confused and not seeing the relevance, because that's just the nature of how I see my own work. Like I put it all together, then I assume I don't know enough, or this isn't helpful enough, or I'm totally off the mark. And it turned out that, like, it was very helpful for almost all of the people who completed the assignment the way that I needed them to, if that makes sense. And that was very validating. Also, just them saying that it was helpful. And I even had one person outright say, like, I would have paid for this. Like, and that was like amazing, right? Because having someone, yeah, just lots of affirmations all over the place. And also me realizing that, like, it's more ready to go than I was expecting. I really thought that I would be doing multiple rounds of beta testing and beta reading, because I thought that this was just like the mess in my brain that doesn't make sense, but it turns out it does make sense. And it turns out that I am good at this. So yay, that's fantastic. So now that I've reached the step of compiling all of the feedback, and then also I went through it myself as my own business, filling out the workbook. I did the whole like print it out and scribble all over it and then fix the spacing. And now it's just a matter of like inserting little doodles and illustrations and then making it available. So it's coming along and I'm really happy about it. This is one of 3 things this quarter, well, not this quarter, but like for Q3 that I had in mind, although this is going to be done by the end of Q2. So that's cool. And then I get to move on to the next thing. Of course, with this stuff, I need to finish it, do the cover, post it, like make it available, post it on my website so that it has like its own sales page that has the button to click away and buy the thing. And then I need to write a few social media posts to let people know about it and just have those like repeating themselves. That's pretty much how I'm doing everything nowadays. I'm like, finish the project, put it in Social B, and let the tech promote it for me, and then I can move on to the next thing. But this is really coming along nicely. And so the final takeaways I would say for you, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, is like, if you know something, put it into some kind of like, DIY format for people to have access to, and definitely pay some people to go through it. Doesn't have to be a lot, but make sure that they are your ideal clients. So not just like your best friend who loves you for everything you do, but probably complete strangers. And yeah, if you've been thinking about it, then do it, because it's going really well. I don't know why. Maybe I do know why, but like unexpectedly well, I would say. Also, if you're wondering how I found such great people to beta test this, it's because it's not my first rodeo. I know how to find people. I know how to check if they're a good fit, although I don't get it right every single time, but like I found people who made my project easier for me, because that's the whole point of outsourcing things. Even beta testers, like that's a real thing. And so if you're interested in that, you can find my process for hiring people to help you in my swipe file. So it's like a copy and paste thing where you can apply it to any project that you're working on, and you can, find the right kind of people to do the work for you. It's my Find Your Unicorn virtual assistant swipe file, and you can go buy that. I'll put the link in the show notes and you'll see how I do it. Okay, cool. I think that's it for today. And I'm super happy and things are coming together, and I hope things are coming together for you too. So keep in touch. Let me know what you're working on and how close you are to the end. I'm really hoping that next week when I do my update for you, that this is like done and it's over and I'm like on to the next thing, but we'll see, right? All right, everybody. Bye. See you next time.